afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mad Rome's Talking Skritt. I am your host, Jim, and there's just one big thing to talk about this week, and that's Icebrood Saga. Icebrood Saga Champions, Chapter 3 Balance. Again, every time I have to go through the litany of titles. But before we hop into that and the things that came along with it, I want to introduce my fellow host for this afternoon. First, she does a lot of stuff on the internet. Her name is Arlie. She makes a loud noise that can sometimes be thought of as a roar. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Although I feel like saying that I do a lot of things on the internet can be taken badly.
I apologize. It's mostly writing and journalisming and journalisming?
Yes. Journalisming. Yes.
What the hell, Jim?
Now.
Yes, PG stuff.
Yes.
PG stuff. And rails. What are rails? We don't do rails here.
Nope. We're off.
Anyway.
Yay.
And the other co-host, he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, why can I never get a coherent intro?
Dale?
You know what? It's probably right. Deo had a whole lot of episodes to roll through this. I just don't have the... I just...
XP.
I can't match his level.
Yeah.
Like, he's endgame and I'm just starting out. So... Well, I guess we can leave it at that. So, I'm going to switch back to the main view and Icebrood Saga Champions Balance. Wow, that's the fastest I've been able to roll through that. In keeping with tradition for Living Story releases, I have yet to play it, despite my best efforts. I know Age played it. I saw your stream go live with In All Things Balance. Arlie has played it because she has been yelling at me to play it since it released.
Yeah.
Since we knew that she couldn't talk about it before it released because of the journalisming.
Yeah. I've actually played it on live too.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Because often when I get the preview, since I played it beforehand, it usually takes me forever to get it done on live. I'm like, I've already done it.
Well, that's understandable.
I'm on top of time.
Okay, so I'm going to drop the release page in chat for those of you. It was with last week's show, or 2 weeks ago show, but that's fine. I'm also going to... I forgot, that's what I knew I forgot to put up. I forgot to grab a spoiler, so I need text. So while I'm doing this, if y'all want to talk about this, so new Dragon Response missions, Caledon Forest, Bloodtide Coast, Fireheart Rise. There's a solo mission where you play as Bram in a solo story mission and use his powers and skills on a journey to seek the meaning of the Owl Spirit's prophecy. There are 4 new allied factions with the Tengu, and 3 more to come on March 23rd, so this upcoming Tuesday, April 6th, and April 20th. YOLO swag blaze it. God damn it. Anyway, new rewards: bolster your forces through the Dragon Slayer Mastery line, earn new weapons from faction vendors, and upgrade your Dragon Slayer weapons to their 3rd and final form. So this is their final form. So while I put the spoiler tag up, would y'all want to talk about what you thought here?
Go first.
It was interesting in terms of what happened in like story-wise. I feel like it could have been more impactful with like cutscenes rather than the in-game panning and zooming,
Right.
or like the in-game like during the last instance in particular. I think it would like a cuts, like 2 cutscenes would have benefited, like in between the fight and at the end of the fight. I feel like the Bram instance could have benefited from. I feel like that was a little bit of a walk in the park. I just literally zoomed past everything and then just did the fight at the end. Um, and then there are DRMs, which I just don't have the appeal to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, but like I guess for in terms of content release, for me it's kind of like 5 out of 10, just because I have no really drive to do DRMs, so like
Mm-hmm.
that content is just not there. And I've been thinking about why it's been hard for me to get into the Icebrood Saga in general. It's just because I feel like with every new episode, whether there's a new map or not, there is always something new or interesting to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas these DRMs are just like the same thing you're doing over and over again, which is okay for people who want to grind, um, or things like that. But I like, I have a different, I have a, like, I want to do that elsewhere. I don't play the story just to do the like endless grinding afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I guess the story progression was okay. Um, I feel like the last chapter is gonna be really long to
Mm-hmm.
benefit from that, because I don't feel like the pacing, like the normal pacing of each chapter, measures up to what could be the last chapter. But um,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on it, I guess.
I've heard people saying that they're expecting some like the pie in the sky kind of deal is a some kind of kaiju battle between Primordus and Jormag,
Right. Yeah, I was
which
trying to figure out how that would work.
well, I mean,
Like,
at that point you would basically just have just a skill bar swap, like a transform like any other, and then you
right.
instead you just have really really shrunk down models running around underneath of you. And well, I mean, we already have destructible buildings because we've seen the Infinirarium, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I also agree with you, Age, especially about the last one. Like I didn't even realize Bram was actually there until like almost the end of it. Like it just because there's so much that's going on in that fight, he just blended in with all the other things.
oh,
Um, yeah. And I was like, oh, well shit.
you mean you didn't see his giant blue bubble?
No. Well, it's also because um the champion you're fighting in that dragon response mission, he also bubbles up at certain points.
Oh,
So
okay.
like it just didn't stand out. And like as I was figuring out what I needed to do, it was like, oh, okay. I get what's happening. But like it I feel like when he appeared, there should have just been like not something that plays every time, but just something that makes a big deal out of it the first time. So you'd be like, oh, okay. You know, like to call it out a little bit more, and it would have made it have a little more impact. I liked the solo mission with him, although when I was doing it, I got annoyed fighting the stuff going around the spiral. I was like, I don't want to fight all this stuff. So I actually figured out how to jump from each layer down. And I literally got it to where I could kill none of the monsters at all. I just jump layer to layer to get to where I needed to go.
And that, friends, is Arlie's experience in World of Warcraft dungeon running.
Yes.
Because I will tell
Yeah.
you right now, I was the tank that would pull everything.
Yeah. I often was with that too, just because other people would mess things up and it would always take longer, so I didn't want to deal with it.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry. No, I have to spotlight Mofongo's comment because that's Deo level punnery there, jumping to
yes,
conclusions.
yes.
Oh,
Essentially
ow.
because like so not to get too spoiler about it, but in that mission you're going to each of the spirits and talking to them and channeling their power to move further. So there is a way that you can jump from point to point and just get to directly where the spirit is. So you just
Arlie,
talk to the spirit.
it's okay. The tag is up. You can be as spoilery
I
as you
know,
want.
but like I still don't want to be too spoilery. I don't know. I have a even though people know we've said spoilery, just say it. But I also want to say that, like, my exaggerated, oh God, this is absolutely never going to happen, thought was going to happen in this thing actually happened. So I was like, well,
Did somebody
I feel bad
die?
now. Huh?
Did somebody die?
No, I made a joke in Discord because I thought it would never happen, and that happened.
Oh, now I have to go back and look through our Discord. Link in the
No,
description.
you don't. You could just play it, and then you'd be like, oh.
Honestly, at this point, I feel like I should wait until the next chapter comes out.
What? Why?
Just to play the entire chapter, like the entirety of Champions all at once. Because, like, this is technically an entire living story drop that was stretched out because of the pandemic. So, like...
Well, yeah, like, if you don't have time to play the little slivers, how are you going to have time to play all of it?
I don't fucking know. I hope. I have hopes and dreams, which I should probably stop doing as an adult because...
Yeah, smash those.
That's too dark for this, so let's keep going.
But no, I liked it overall. I'm really curious to see where they're going to go and how it's going to play out from here, though. But... yes, I agree with Pink Pirate Pickle. You should play them.
Pink Pirate Pickle. Wow, that's a different from that's a far jump from nipples.
I know. I looked. I double taked. I was like, "Yep, that's right." Okay.
That's pink. Yeah.
I also agree that the dragon response missions too repetitive. Although I will say, as I've been focusing on finishing my Howler and trying to get up to 100 gold so I can buy my icy runestones, I have been logging in more often to do the dailies and the daily dragon response missions, just the 3 that are the daily. And I've been enjoying that more than I thought I would. Like, I don't know why I'm having it, but I'm actually enjoying it.
So it's actually worthwhile to just hop in and do the DRMs and then be done with it?
Yeah, pretty much. I even will do the strike mission sometimes.
Also, you don't have 100 gold?
No. I have 70.
You know what? I really shouldn't ask you about the state of your money because of the number of times you've been so broke you can't waypoint.
Hey, it's been a long time since that's been the case, okay? But yeah, that did happen.
Right, that was during Scarlet that happened. That was a while ago. I'll still always remember.
Yeah.
I can't get there. Why, Arlie? Because I can't waypoint.
It's just, that's the way I play games. I never play games with an eye to making any kind of money. I just do what I want. So I'm like habitually broke in games. It's just, I don't know. It's the way it is.
And Most Excellent Hat coming to us with a tweet written by an AI after consuming nothing but fast food brand Twitter. Hopes and dreams lead to disappointment. Hope for nothing. Eat Arby's. Not sponsored by Arby's. Now I want Arby's because there's an Arby's nearby. Damn it, Hat.
I still want pizza. I'm still on.
I should probably just focus on the pizza and hope that there's still pizza for me. Maybe. Wait, no. I'm supposed to get rid of my hopes and dreams. Damn it. Anyway, so the DRMs, have they improved? Like, I know you guys have been saying they feel kind of samey. Like, from first chapter of Champions to third chapter of Champions, how do they feel?
I think they're definitely better than the first round. Like, I don't think they made any huge differences this one than they did last time. I felt like last time's felt a lot better, but I still like the first round ones the least, for whatever reason.
What was that, Age?
I can't tell you. I just don't have the drive to do DRMs.
Okay, so you really haven't even touched them. Okay.
I would imagine they're pretty much the same as Chapter 2 since people aren't complaining about them.
Okay. Now, as a system, do you think we'll continue to see something similar to the DRMs going forward?
No.
Yeah.
Really? Like
no,
instant
I think
soloable content?
I think NCSoft told Arena like near the beginning of Icebrood Saga we were going to be doing an expansion, and they kind of pivoted to the system because they didn't plan to do. They probably planned to do something else.
Yeah,
because
I think
like DRMs are not the type of content that we were used to seeing per episode. So it's very different.
Okay, so Age, I know you play a lot of BDO, and I know you play a lot of other East Asian market MMOs. Does this feel like NCSoft is kind of meddling too much for a publisher? Because like I do you see the hand of like them coming, like, as somebody who knows what East Asian market MMOs are about, does it feel like we're being pivoted to that for Guild Wars 2 away from like ArenaNet's previous kind of designing?
I don't think so. I think it's just a shift in plans just after the publishing took over, just because the plan wasn't to do an expansion, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, NCSoft is like, we want to pull in more revenue, so we're going to do an expansion. I think that was just it. And it just made a shift in plans that kind of changed the way the story is being told halfway through. Because I'm pretty sure Icebrood Saga, up until like maybe the third episode, like that was all planned. And then, like, at the beginning of Icebrood Saga, like near the beginning of Icebrood Saga, like when that first episode released, they were told, like, okay, you're going to work on an expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably some of the stuff we would have seen in Icebrood Saga is going into the expansion, and they kind of have to pivot off of other ideas and things like that. And so, like, they had to do DRMs in order to make up for that instead. That's what I feel. I don't know if it's true, but that's how I feel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see Maflongo's talking about DRMs being good filler content between or alongside story content. Do you think that would be functional as, like, side story content?
Yeah, if it had good turnover, because DRMs are akin to bonus mission packs in Guild Wars 1, where you
Okay.
just go through as a character, like a hero-based character, and you like see the story from their eyes. So it kind of works out better that way.
And Pink Pirate brings up, I like the system because I feel more engaged than running around the map with 80 players, but it also makes me think they should bring back dungeon releases as episodes. I kind of like the idea of bringing back instanced content as part of story, like repeatable part of story, because obviously we have instanced content for the story missions themselves because everybody is the commander. We've talked about that, but having yet to experience a DRM, at least
you haven't done any of them?
Literally nothing. Zero, zilch, nada.
Oh my god, Jim.
Zero.
He's only done the prelude, I think. That's it.
I haven't even finished Jormag Rising.
Oh my goodness.
So you've done the prelude, right?
Nope.
Yeah, you need to get on
The
this.
Metal Legion?
No, I haven't even finished I have never seen a Metal Legion concert.
Wow.
Despite the fact that I own the band shirt, I have never done anything with that.
Oh, you're a poser, man.
Look, it's a really comfy shirt. The only problem with it is the material attracts animal hair like nobody's business. I put the shirt on, it's clean, it's pristine, it comes right out of my closet, perfect. I walk to the door and I am covered in dog and cat hair. Like, I feel like I should wear it when I clean because it will help me by just being a magnet for all of it.
There you go.
But yeah, I have literally, like Grothmar Valley. As much as I love Grothmar Valley, I have not finished the meta there. I'm honestly probably more finished with the Drizzlewood Coast meta than anything else, just because it's really great for farming.
Yeah.
And I started working on Exordium, and then I found out that Gen 2 legendaries have become farm fests as opposed to actually going out and learning about why the legendary exists, and I was disappointed.
Yeah. Well, they made that switch because basically coming up with the individual storylines
I get it.
was taking
It was
so
taking
much
forever.
time. Yeah.
And I'm one of those people who wouldn't have cared how long it took to get the Gen 2 legendaries out.
Yeah, same.
I'm not somebody who would have cared that it would have taken 3 expansions to finish another set of legendaries, because it would have been interesting to learn about it. Like, I remember when Mo made that announcement, and I don't agree with it still.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, but a lot of people were mad about it and stuff.
people can make the other legendaries. Like, just fucking wait. Like, I'm sorry. I can't help the fact that I want to know why this really cool shape-shifting greatsword exists in the world of Tyria.
Mm-hmm.
Just make Eternity or Twilight or Sunrise and then transmog it to whatever you want, because you want the shiny, like, you want the stat swapping. Just okay, this is not balance. Back to balance. So I hear a lot about the Tengu. I saw y'all talking in the spoiler channel about, which a lot of you seem to be using this, like, still using the spoiler tagging in the spoiler channel.
Just in case.
Just in case. I would just click in to clear it from my Discord notifications so that, like, the unreads would go away. But we have a new Tengu character who is apparently big to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the point for you to volunteer her name and talk about her.
Mm-hmm.
As you just sit there and smile. Okay, cool.
Well, okay, so I like the Tengu character itself. Interest. Like, having never played Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1 and never having experience with Tengu before, they are very different than what I expect. Like, as characters.
Okay.
I like the first one you met. She's kind of goofy, kind of out there, but she's really interesting. And it was really interesting to see that, like, I've always had in my mind that Tengu are like this one group that all of them hate outsiders. Like I was thinking really monolithically, like as a group. But it was great to hear from her that there's divisions between them and not all of them think the same way, which, you know, anybody should have, like, when you're thinking about any group, that's just obvious.
Well, I mean, the Tengu in general have been treated as a monolith in the story before now.
Right. So for me, that was really interesting. I really liked meeting her, and I hope they continue developing the storyline with us getting to know the Tengu more and more interesting things about them. I really, really dislike their faction ability, though. Pisses me off. Like, I used it a few times, and I was like,
what's a faction ability?
When you're doing the DRM and they're helping, you talk to the person, you get, like, the Sylvari have the Hound, the Exalted let you have one of their suits, you know, all that. The Tengu give you a longbow with these different abilities, which are great for crowd control and stuff. But they have limited number of arrows, so you have to go to arrow canisters to pick up more arrows.
So it's an ammunition system, okay.
Yeah, which I just hate. I don't know if it's because I spent too much time on my ranger and I'm used to using, like, arrows. Like, no, it doesn't matter. But, like, I just was really annoyed by that. And, like, the abilities weren't that fun to me. Like, after using it 3 or 4 times, I was like, no, I just scrapped it. And I don't use their ability anymore anytime they're the ones helping.
Okay.
I just didn't like it.
But what about the achievements? I'm assuming there are achievements tied to using them.
Oh, yeah, there probably are. I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calidris Sparrowhawk. Thank you, Mofongo. I'm going to say that as well as type it. And then it's basically bird. Okay. See, I knew enough about... I knew she existed because I follow Tom Abernathy on Twitter and I see stuff about the story. So I'm going to end up seeing some kind of spoiler before I ever play it. It is great to finally learn more about the Tengu, because, like, hearing that monolith kind of being broken up is fantastic. So that's great to hear.
One thing I also wanted to say, it was really interesting that she has a very naive kind of outlook on the world, which makes sense because she's just been in her little, like,
in the domain
closed area. Yeah. And I really like that was shown clearly.
So she's just very clearly a product of her environment, and the writing team did a good job with her.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like clearly has no idea what's been going on in the last however years that Guild Wars 2 has been going on.
Although Morngorst is
Cool.
saying that her voiceover sounded a little too Skritt-like. Care to comment?
I mean,
Kinda.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because like just in that, like to me, it came across as just like I said, the naivete of not really understanding everything
So she's
and
just
being
super
kind
excited.
of scattered.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way it came off more than anything to me.
I suppose that's the other thing is like every single Tengu I remember from the personal story was always played as this like cool, aloof, like has it together kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
So she sounds pitchy, but also seems childish or young.
Yes.
And Netco saying the bird needs to sound a little screechy. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that's one of the things that isn't portrayed well outside of like the Char. I mean, even the Char don't exactly sound particularly like they have growls and such, but like voiceovers don't necessarily sound too. I don't want to say feral. Feral's the wrong word, but animalistic, which is still weird because we're talking about a civilization, not a bunch of animals. But every Tengu in the personal story is also voiced by the same actor. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that. I'd have to
Me
go back
neither.
and replay the personal story, which I don't know if I want to do that.
I honestly don't remember Tengu in the person at all.
There are Tengu involved at Fort Trinity with the forming when you're moving, when you're getting to that point. Very sparingly, Tengu are involved. There's Tengu involved in the human personal story. In
Savari, I think, had one.
Savari had some. Okay, I don't know if I've ever actually
Have no
progressed my
memory of
Savari
that.
personal story. I mean, to be fair, it's
think-
been how many years? So
Yeah. Well, it's also possible I never finished the story.
Izu's Steel Shriek is the main one you need. I think Izu is the one that ends up in your home instance. Because I have a couple of Tengu in one of my home instances. I know that.
Were they, there's that point where you can choose between different races to research and get to know better.
Yeah.
Were they one of the options, or is this just completely different?
It was Quaggan and Skritt, and I don't think Tengu were an option. Because I know Quaggan was one, because I chose the Quaggan, and you get that one Quaggan who's just like, screw you, I'm going to deal with my shapeshift form.
Well, no, there's a few different ones, because Hylick's also an option.
That's right, Hylick is an option. And there's only 3 or 4.
The giant guys are, because I know I've picked
Jotun.
them once, the Hylick. Yeah.
Oh, no, the ogres. Quaggan, Skritt, Grawl,
Yes.
Hylick, and ogres. Yeah.
Yes.
So no Tengu.
I was going to
There's
say,
a-
because if they were, I never.
There is a limited selection of Tengu from the personal story. I still like the dude who said, screw you, I'm going to be angry as a Quaggan. He was always my favorite because he didn't affect the cute speech, and he was always in his angry form. And he was in Heart of Thorns and Verdant Brink, and that made me happy because he was my bro.
Aw. Well, apparently I did finish my human personal story, so I just don't remember.
Again, I mean, it was how many years ago? So it's a lot of story to remember. And it's I would say it's more difficult to remember personal story because there is however many branches of the personal story, but only one branch moving forward after that. Like minor variations and choices you make as the commander, but like it's really still the same story beats. But overall, I suppose it's probably a good time to move on from balance into the other patch notes. But like overall, balance, is it, because I remember everybody has so far said that like previous chapters of Icebrood Saga Champions feel a little like cut too short and not very impactful. How does balance feel?
It felt good to me. Like, I of course want more, but I always want more story. I don't know if that is possible for them to put up too much story at once for me. But like I liked it. I liked the way things progressed. I liked the story they told. I wish they could have put a little more emphasis on certain parts which you mentioned, make them stand out more. But overall, I really liked it, even though I guessed the ending.
For me, it was like more of a setup for last chapter type of deal. It had like the important moments I feel like were impactful, but it didn't really translate for me. So yeah, just overall, it has a balanced score of 5 out of 10 for me.
5 out of 10. Okay. See, most people would say that's an awful score, but I think review sites have kind of screwed that over.
Yeah.
It's just like given what I'm expecting versus like what was given to me. That's why. So
no, I get that. It's just it's one of those things. If you give something less than a 7 out of 10, you're clearly just trashing it. Like anything less than 7 out of 10 is the worst, and don't play it. But before we move on, like we'll just switch from balance to the other things that came along with the patch. A couple profession updates. The engineer's AED fixed a bug that prevented the skill super speed skill fact from the trait Speed of Synergy from displaying when the Gadgeteer trait was also active, so just minor tooltip changes. Rocket Boots fixed an issue that prevented the underwater version of the skill from granting super speed when traded with Gadgeteer. Gadgeteer is seeing a lot of bug fixes, which is great. Power Wrench fixed a bug in which this trait erroneously displayed increased damage for the toolkit auto attack. I've never actually used that one. The Guardian's Tome of Courage fixed a bug that caused this skill to grant a stack of stability from the Indomitable Courage trait, even when the trait was not equipped. So bonus stability. Gone. Necromancer Insidious Disruption fixed a bug that allowed this trait to apply Torment to the Necromancer, which Necromancers have like all of the corruption abilities, apply conditions to themselves. I couldn't remember what the debuff terminology was for a second there. Conditions to themselves. So torment to yourself is not necessarily a bad thing for a necromancer. Signet of Undeath fixed a bug that caused the skill to have a different recharge duration while players were underwater. That's weird. And then finally, Warrior fixed a bug that caused the skill to grant Fury when the Roaring Reveille trait was not equipped. So that was that's Warhorn stuff. I'm going to take a short break, so if y'all want to talk about anything that stands out to you there, I will be right back.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any real feelings about any of that stuff. So have you been PvPing much lately?
Nope.
Nope.
This is like Thief doesn't feel good to play right now, and back to where Heart of Thorns came out, and everything was like conditions were really strong, and I just couldn't play Thief. But now I just can't play Thief solely because Thief damage is just terrible unless I go full Berserker, which I did do this week in World vs. World. I wasn't really happy about it. And I don't know how I do in PvP with subpar damage.
Right.
Because the whole point, so everyone's complaining about the mobility and the stealth and the dodge, and that's fine, but I have no damage. Arena hasn't given back the damage, so I can't. So like I have less of my utility to live, and I have low damage, so that's why it's bad to play right now. It's like still possible to do. It's just really like you have to be on the ball all the time. I just don't feel like doing that.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Because like it's been a while since I've done any PvP, but last time when I played, Thieves were like very, very ouch. They were the ones that gave me the most problems, but
Yeah.
it's been a while.
And then the bots and hackers, and I just don't want to deal with that.
Well, yeah. That's a
I
whole other.
think, yeah, I don't know if I would degrade back to silver since I haven't played in a while, but
Mhm.
that's just don't want to deal with it.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand. Hey, last I heard, I thought engineers were really dominating in PvP a lot.
I feel like they're always in there somehow. Like they're never not horrible. It's like either you have to play, you either have the damage or you're playing more bunker style with
Right.
damage. But I don't feel like they're ever not out of meta. I feel like there's just not a bunch of engineer players.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like I think there was like only one meta change where like engineer was really good to play, so that you should play it. But like even I've only played engineer once in PvP, like
Mhm.
ever. So uh
Yeah, I tried to get into engineer, but like I don't know, it just didn't click. It's all flamethrower scrappers now. That's weird. I
yeah,
thought for a while it was all hollow smiths, but
yeah. Oh, that's true. That was the meta where everyone played Holosmith
for a while,
because
but
it
no
was
more.
just, I don't know how strong it is now. Because
Ah,
Holosmith was just really good. You just go into hollow mode, you press literally all the buttons in the right sequence,
mhm.
you do a ton of damage. But
Hmm.
you just kite the hollow mode pretty much and you win. But anyway.
Yeah.
Um let's see, these are mostly bug fixes anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just granting extra bonuses when the traits are on or off. Like so it's just fixing it to be
Mhm.
accurate.
To be what it's
That's
supposed to be.
yeah. Um I think these are mostly PvP related fixes there. I don't really see I really wouldn't see anything outside of maybe the Guardian one where it'd be world versus world base.
Right. The underwater one is just random. Just because like there's so little places where there is underwater still that it
Yeah,
feels
that
random.
that might have been like from PvE
Mhm.
because that's where you would be mostly underwater.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think yeah, underwater areas are just not a thing that you would do in World versus World unless you're trying to escape or something. But and in PvP,
Um,
it's just non-existent. So
they should make a new SPVP map that is all underwater. Everybody fights underwater.
no one liked that idea.
Ah, it would be chaos though. Great.
Oh, people would not like that. They would
I
just
know.
all vote not to play that map.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, what was the Sky one? Was it the Sky map everybody voted down for a long time?
Skyhammer.
Yeah.
Skyhammer, people didn't like just because of the edges of the map where you can get knocked off and just fighting for the hammer in of itself.
Mhm.
I think it was, but
Yeah.
now I think it's a better map. So
Yeah, they redesigned it a bit at one point. So,
yeah, they put barriers, and I think they put a. I think it's better now. Raid of the Capricorn, yeah, it was 1 point underwater, and then there were 2 points on each side.
oh, really? Wait.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not thinking about that one. About
that was the first Raid of the Capricorn. That was the first map that had underwater combat for PvP.
Right. I was
Yeah.
thinking about there's a red map that's kind of piratey, but it's not Raid of Capricorn because that one has no underwater.
Revenge.
Yes, that's it.
Revenge.
Yeah, that's the updated one from.
Oh,
from
okay.
Wait, how did we pivot to underwater combat?
Because we didn't have any real comment about the balance changes, so I just started talking about PvP, and then I said, "Hey, they should make a PvP map that's all underwater." And ta-da!
You know what though? After a lot of the underwater balance update passes, I wonder how that would work.
Age said everybody would hate it, and it's right. No, but everybody would vote against that one.
And Morngorst, I was one of those flamethrower scrappers for a while, but it got boring.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, but at the same time, I had... Like, people were flaming me for, like, why do you use anything other than your flamethrower? And it's like, yes, I do use stuff other than my flamethrower, but it's all 0 cast time stuff. So you don't see it because you're not paying attention. And it made me sad, so I stopped playing it. As much as I like my scrapper, it was just kind of meh. I went back to my necromancer. But
Reaper?
Yeah, Reaper.
Yay, Reaper!
Lich form needs nerf though.
No.
Yes.
Stop saying it. What's wrong with you?
Because the Lich form 1 does so much Goram damage, and it should not.
Oh, it's fine.
They are one of the bots class of choice. I'm not surprised to hear that, Morngorst. Like, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because I had so much available to me that could just be used on cooldown with 0 cast time. Like, all of the tool... Like, so many of the tool belt skills, so many of the gyros. It's so... I could imagine it being so easy for somebody to automate Scrapper, Flamethrower Scrapper. Because you just stay real close to somebody and you just... Flamethrower... and you don't care. Even with thieves going stealth, it's just like, I'm gonna sit there and hold 1 and just kind of turn back and forth, and I'll hit the thief. That's amazing. Unless the thief runs away, which I mean probably should, and then you come and spike, and but then the scrapper's just like barrier gyro, which is why they nerfed it the last patch. So, although I will say, it is super easy to counter Lich form as a scrapper.
Oh, yeah?
Because Barrier Gyro's toolbelt skill is the one that puts up the projectile block field.
Oh.
And you literally just hit that and stand on top of the Necromancer.
Right.
Because then literally none of their skills can function. Like, they can use the 4 and the 5. And if they use the minion summon, or like the 5 skill doesn't do a lot of damage, it's a sustain tool. And the minion summon takes way too long to cast, and you waste like half of the Lich form trying to cast it. So, but since we basically have no comment on the balance patch, I suppose we can move along to get more balancing. But this time it's with collections. The stretch goals meta achievement. From Fire Attunement on the official forums. Hello everyone, the Stretch Goals meta achievement earned by playing the Icebrood Saga Champions currently requires players to complete all the associated collections. This is prohibitively costly and doesn't reflect the intended difficulty, so we're making adjustments to it. Updates in the March 23rd build will reduce the cost of crafting current and upcoming collections. Prismatium ingots requirements for crafting the weapons will be reduced from 10 to 5. The Prismatium ingot recipe will require 5 Prismaticite instead of 10. An alternative Prismatium ingot recipe, which uses more Prismaticite and less Orichalcum, will be available from the Olmecon vendor in the Eye of the North. And the Daily Dragon Responder will reward 10 Prismaticite instead of 6. Additionally, we will lower the requirements to complete the meta achievement in another upcoming build. You'll receive both the /stretch emote tome and 25 achievement points after completing 26 specific champions achievements. The full weapon collections will move to the rare collections achievement category, and while they'll still contribute to the meta achievement, they won't be required to complete it. We wanted the
Yay!
final meta achievement tier to be an optional bonus challenge round, but we miscalculated the full scope of the requirements. We've been reading and discussing your comments, and we don't intend for future meta achievements of this type to include requirements that are very expensive or that are intended to be long-term goals. Thank you for your feedback. We're looking forward to getting these changes out to you soon.
Yay!
So it's like I was saying this in the pre-show, it's starting to sound like it was probably a good idea that I didn't start with this.
Well, yeah, like, so I've completely ignored those meta achievements because, like, I wasn't playing that much. I basically would log on for the story and then that's it. And I just started looking on recently because I've been playing more and I was like, oh, I have a lot of progress towards these. Let me look at what I need to do to finish it. And literally, I was like, oh, weapons. I don't want to do that. Like, you
Okay.
know?
Okay, so Age went and gave us numbers. just to put this all into perspective. To make all of the Dragon Slayer weapons, it would require 8 to 9k gold, roughly.
Oh, God!
Black Lion weapon sets are 600 to 700 gold when on rotation. A legendary is 1.5 to 2.5k, depending on the item. The I'm Rich You Know title is only 1,000 gold. The Queen Bee infusion is 6,500 gold, and the permanent bank contract is 6,000 gold. So that's just some numbers to like compare. So a full set, like all Dragon Slayer weapons. Oh wait, and Aegis is typing stuff and sipping. All of this
That's
gold.
my bad.
Oh, that was a response from Reddit. Players are finding the grind for the weapons unreasonable. All of this gold for only mediocre skins, which is especially bad when you consider the full Black Lion weapons, which look much better. Again, subjective, but quote,
Right.
can be bought from around 600 gold when they are on rotation. For context of how ridiculous the prices are, here are some of the things that are considered extremely expensive, so you can compare the values of these collections to make up your own mind. So again, those numbers, and then the Dragon Slayer weapons.
Well, that's why I said as soon as I saw weapon requirements, I gave up. I was like, okay, never going to get that then. Because, like, I'm already having a hard time trying to finish off my Howler. Like, you know?
And Howler's not that bad because it's a Gen 1 legendary. A lot of the cost is tied up in, like, time spent because it's one of the questing legendaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing those numbers, that's kind of crazy. I get where they're coming from with wanting it to be a long-term achievement, because, like, okay, I kind of don't like comparing these to Black Lion weapons, because Black Lion weapons are really... I don't think they're designed with the intent... Like, you get achievements for completing Black Lion weapon sets. But I do not think Black Lion weapon sets are designed with the intent that the players should complete them.
Right.
Like, the Boreal weapons were intended to be completed. The Dragon Slayer weapons are intended to be completed. Again, I think if they're intended to be completed, they should not cost that much. But again, it was kind of meant to be like a long-term goal, like they were talking about. Black Lion weapons are kind of weird because they're a monetized thing. You get something out of completing the weapon set, but I don't think it's meant to be done.
Right.
So, but comparing this to something like the Queen Bee infusion or a permanent whatever contract on the trading post, I think that's fair. So seeing something like these, like it's intended to be completed because, I mean, it's an in-game acquirable thing. Anything that is 100% in-game acquirable without opening your wallet, I think it's intended to be completed eventually, is a valid comparison. And the permanent bank contract, which, I mean, yes, it technically comes out of Black Lion chests. You can get keys from playing the game. It's kind of in that gray area of monetization versus gameplay. Okay, so Arlie has next to no gold. I have gold that I don't pay attention to. Age, you're somebody that actually pays attention to the economy of this game. What are your thoughts on the cost for everything here?
Dragon Slayer weapon should cost 2 to 3K
Okay.
in total, just because it should be a long-term goal. Fine, but it shouldn't take you until 2023 to do.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good. So the changes that they're making, are you thinking that's going to bring things into line to what you're thinking about, or
It'll cut in half, I think.
okay?
Maybe it sounds like, because they're just doubling or decreasing it by a half or around half. So it sounds like it'll cut the price in half.
Well, let's see here. The weapon, the prismatium ingot cost is cut in half. The prismatium ingot will require 5 less chromatosite, so that means that for the previous amount of prismatosite to craft 1, you can now craft 4 prismatosite or prismatium ingots. And now they're doing an alternate. Well, that doesn't matter because that's substituting prismatosite for or orichalcum for prismatosite. So I think that's neither here nor there. And then the Dragon Responder mission will give you 10 instead of 6. So it's not quite quadruple. I think it's maybe like a 5x on the rate of gain on prismatium ingots. That's
right.
rough math on my part. Very rough math based on me guessing things.
It says reduce from 10 to 5, so it's cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
Require 5 instead of 10, so
Mhm.
that's cut in half.
Yeah. And then 10 instead of 6.
Alternate version to the recipe.
It just relieves the burden on orichalcum gain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It lets you substitute more prismatosite for less orichalcum.
Okay. And then Dragon Responder, which will reward 10 instead of 6, which is like what, 1.4?
It's close to doubling the rate. So
yeah, so it's
like a 1.8.
That's why I'm saying half, but
it's like 5 to 6x the speed gain on prismatium ingots.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh boy, Age threw something in at the start here. Oh no. I don't want to see this topic. Sorry. We'll get to that when we
skip
actually
it if you want.
No, I don't want to skip it. You added it to the show notes, so it's going to be talked about. This isn't like Deo's dissertation at the very end with Kunavang and the End of Dragons trailer, which we talked about. I know we did that way back when. Is the Raza treaties still here?
Probably.
Wait. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so all these changes to like the cost. I mean, clearly they're monitoring like the amount of stuffs people spend, so that's great, right? The fact that they're buffing us, the player, when we're trying to collect these weapons. So that's good. And it definitely cuts back on the appearance that like, oh, they just want, all the skins in the gem store, because they're making it easier to get skins that are in game. Granted, there are people who are going to be saying that, they're still not good enough to be, like, they're not comparable to the skins that are in the gem store, but like, as far as I understand about the Dragon Slayer weapons, there are 3 tiers of them. So we're technically getting 3 whole weapon sets. Oh, actually, wait. Because if I remember the screenshots correctly, there's 2 sets. There's an ice and a fire one. So these are 6 sets of weapons. Right? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong here.
I know they're fire and ice, but I didn't think each fire and ice had 3 upgrades. But I could have just misunderstood it. It's possible.
Because I remember I'm just gonna go to the wiki because the people on the wiki actually they do a damn good job keeping up with shit. Dragon Slayer weapons. I faced sticker shock and just gave up on caring about them. Yeah, Mofongo. I get
that's
that.
essentially what I was saying. Same with me. I looked at it, was like, yep, nope, never getting that.
It's here, the Commander's Dragon Slayer Axe. Okay. Set Dragon Slayer weapons. Dragon Slayer weapons are champion from chapter 1 truce. Okay. Azure and Crimson Dragon Slayer weapons. So set 1 is just one set. The Azure set and the Crimson set are obviously the difference between fire and ice. That's cool. Like, those look pretty nice. So the Azure set, and then that goes to the... Might not be added, because that would be tier 3. So, okay, it's not 5. It's not 6 sets. It looks like it's 5, because it looks like it starts with 1 from Truce and then splits off into Azure and Crimson, and then Balance is saying that, like, the final form would be the ultimate form of the fire and ice bit. So we're getting 5 weapon sets from just champions, minus harpoon guns, spears, and tridents. Hashtag rip underwater combat. Look, spears and tridents are really, really cool weapon designs. I can't say much about the harpoon guns because I feel like they just took a lot of the rifle skins and put something pointy coming out of the barrel of the rifle.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I can't blame them because that's basically what a harpoon gun would look like. But at the same time, I can't say it's lazy because how can you differentiate between a harpoon gun and a rifle? They're basically the same construction with different ammunition, but like some of the spears from the launch of the game are really goddamn cool. So
yeah,
but still, like, reductions, and so just to bring it all back, to talk about the changes in pricing. This is cool. Like Mofongo is saying, they dealt with. Morngors is saying their first legendary was Frenzy, the rainbow fish gun. Cheers. I can't blame you for that. It's just the particle effects alone would be worth it. I can't blame you for that at all. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the spear name right now, but being a spectral shark sounds really freaking cool too. But reduction in cost on these weapon sets is really cool, and I appreciate ArenaNet for doing this, despite the fact that I have yet to start any of it. Any final thoughts on this reduction in cost on Prismatium?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, it makes it more likely I might actually try to make some. Yay.
Completely irrelevant to this set, the dragon slaying weapons, something called Prismatium really needs to be used in future crafting recipes because it just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Like, I know I complained about, and this is one of the things I complained a lot when I do Zero to Hero, when I do ranked stuff for Guild Wars 2 during streams. The Grandmaster crafting marks, I think, are the dumbest thing added to Guild Wars 2 crafting in the history of Guild Wars 2 crafting, and quite frankly, I feel like there's a lot of dumb things in Guild Wars 2 crafting. They add these really cool sounding materials. I want to see them used again. Like, I realize that kind of means you're locking crafting recipes behind, like, future crafting recipes behind story content that came out previous, but it gives players more incentive to actually try and unlock those. Even if, like, whether they're going to shell out the gems for it or farm up the gold to unlock the story chapters. I really think that, like, going back and using, like, living story currency, like Bloodstone shards from fucking season 3. Go back and use that. Because Bloodstone shards, like, that has storied relevance to Guild Wars 2. It's very fitting for a lot of crafting recipes, I would think. Like, you need, like, a condensed form of magic. Bloodstone shards. Prismatium just sounds really cool, and I have no idea how it exists in the game. It sounds like some kind of metallic form of wild magic, and we've been using wild magic for the past several stories, like story chapters, so just make use of that. That was one of the biggest problems I had with the Grandmaster crafting marks, is they added yet more crafting materials that were basically half-cost versions of Ascended crafting materials just for the Grandmaster crafting marks. But that's my digression on Prismatium, which really doesn't have anything to do with Dragon Slayer weapons, which leads me to the thing that I didn't want to talk about that H added to the notes. Are bots becoming more of a problem in Guild Wars 2?
Oh, yeah, we talked briefly about bots while you were gone.
Someone posted on Reddit a PvP bot getting stuck trying to commune with a hero point. Someone in the thread brought up an interesting point. Map completion rewards plus the gift of exploration are a pretty nice source of income. When it is automated, it becomes essentially free for the botters. And I'm going to mute this tab before I start playing. And I'm going to grab the thread so everybody in chat and then everybody in the YouTube comment section will be able to see it in the description. Oh, God. It activates it and then cancels. Oh, no. Oh, you're a bad programmer. Oh, God. This is awful to watch, Age. Why did you do this? Why did you make me watch this?
I didn't make you do anything.
You put it in the show notes, and I'm the host. I need to watch these things so I can actually do my job. Oh, God, this is awful. One, this makes me want to slap the person who programmed the bot. Two, this makes me want to slap the person who programmed the bot for programming a bot. Like, it makes me mad to see somebody program something and then program it wrong. Like, if you're gonna cheat at the game, at least do it right. And, like, that's the... I don't know, and this is even a problem with people who do AFK farming, with necromancers and rangers. Like, it's, with the way Guild Wars 2 combat and tagging is set up, it is... Red Wolf, you know what, actually, this might be one of Microsoft's programmers, because my dad has been calling me for tech support, which is one of the perils of being an IT professional in a family. I'm sure, Age, you deal with this too. Arlie, you might even deal with this being a computer-savvy person. You might have family members contacting you about stuff. My dad has been telling me that his computer is just, like, preparing update every time he shut it down. I went to his house to do a full update on his computer, and I think I shut it down like 6 times to like roll through all the Windows updates. And it's still trying to apply updates, which I actually dealt with my own computer yelling at me about updates recently because it just kept failing the update. So, Red Wolf, you might be right. Maybe this is a Microsoft patch department issue gone awry. I don't know why they'd be working on Guild Wars 2 bots, but here we are. I don't think bots are becoming more of a problem in Guild Wars 2, to answer Age's question in the show notes. It's just... It's very obvious, I think, when Guild Wars 2 bots are found.
Yeah.
Because with the way the combat is designed and the way, like, player interactions are, it is very easy to tell when a character is doing a certain set of actions at regular intervals.
Right.
Now, granted, I could create a macro on my keyboard because I have a SteelSeries keyboard with the full macro recording suite that they have available. I could create a macro on my keyboard to do that, but that would break TOS because I'm using software to emulate input, which is specifically against Guild Wars 2 TOS, if I recall correctly. I used to do that with a click macro. I still have a click macro, but that's because I play idle games that involve clicking, and I need to stop that because I play too many idle games that involve clicking. The grandmas bake too many cookies. Everybody who understands that, you know what I'm talking about. Age, you had a comment there?
Oh, no. Go on.
Okay. It's just like, I once thought, like, I'm sure people for, like, guild recruitment have macros to, like, drop something in chat. And I don't think ArenaNet truly cares about that. Because that's something somebody just reaches over and hits a button. And it just says something. Maybe it even happens on an interval. Like, because the click macro I have on my keyboard is I press the button and it toggles on. And it clicks every 15 microseconds. And it clicks at my cursor, so I have to position my cursor, and then it just clicks. Which I think I started doing that for Guild Wars 2 back during the invasion of Lion's Arch. Back when we got all of the drawings from children. And all of the bags. That was way before consume or use all existed on the right click menu. Way before use all. I even remember Deo making an offhanded comment like, oh, you're gonna get banned for that. That was the first time I ever created a click macro with my keyboard. And that was with a completely different keyboard at the time. Because there was, what was it? How much karma came from those children's drawings? Like 2,500?
Something like that.
It was the loot bags from the Attack on Lion's Arch stuff. Like, you'd get drawings from kids because you were their hero. And you would consume those, and it would be 2,500 karma per. But I didn't want to deal with, like, sitting there and double-clicking everything. I know. So I do miss dragging the Queensdale Champ Cave Troll out of the cave into the bot path. Yes, I know, Red Wolf. That would have been fantastic. I miss the champions in Queensdale as well. Honestly, I kind of miss just trolling the champ train in Queensdale by killing the champions out of order. Because I still remember the night where we went to Frostgorge Sound and we actually progressed the event that's at the southernmost bit. And it was I think it was me and Deo and Red Wolf and I want to say Tavik and one other person. We had finished like fractals or dungeons or something, and we just
I was there for that.
I think you might have been there for that. And we just like people. It was during the like defend the scout like the lookout, where people would just farm champions from failing the event over and over again. And I remember getting yelled at for that, but that was tons of fun.
Yes.
But that's screwing with people for actually playing the game it's meant to be played the way it's meant to be played. But with the consume all, one, I love the consume all. Two, I wish the consume all would work with skill tomes.
Yeah.
Oh god, pink. Oh, that would be amazing, spawning legendary bandits on top of stuff like that. Actually, I don't know. The legendary bandits would have to have no loot.
Yeah.
That's like, I would love to spawning legendary enemies in on trolls and people trying to exploit things. That was, to use an example, that's CD Projekt Red with The Witcher 3. When the game released, the economy was such that if you killed cows, they would respawn. Like, you would kill a whole farm's worth of cows, you'd wait a day, they'd all respawn, you'd keep going, and leather sold at a rate that it was a really good money farm in The Witcher 3. So instead of CD Projekt Red nerfing the sale of raw leather, They instead created an enemy that would spawn if you killed too many cows. That was effectively the legendary chicken in Ebonhawk. So it would show up and kick your ass once you started killing too many cows. So I would love to see more like devs trolling people trying to exploit the economy like that. Because I if The Witcher 3 was an MMO, there would have been bots farming cows.
Yeah.
To bring it back to the topic that Age brought up with bots. Yes, I'm going to keep blaming you for this, Age. But honestly, spawning in legendaries would be hilarious. But to get back to it, the click macro. Oh god, I'm trying to trace back my train of thought. I forgot we have no rails here.
Yes.
Damn it. While I try to think, you two talk quick. Distractions.
Think Age should talk.
I think bots are. How I say this? It's more of a becoming more of a visible issue, I guess, because I think they mostly started. It started mostly popping up in PVE in terms of silver waste, just because of just people either AFKing or like having some like slight macro to move so that they don't get DC'd or anything like that. And just like passively farm events, which I still think is a problem. I feel like you should be actively. They're like, there's an easy way to just do that. Like you have to do like X amount of damage to even consider yourself part of the event. Like,
I didn't even think about that. Revenants, Heralds would be able to passively farm events because they added all of the event credit with boon application.
Yeah, but it's and then you have the PvP bots are coming in, and then there are specific macros that people just use to just do burst combos or whatever what have you, and then if it gets to a point where bots are just like you put a bot in a specific spot to do map completion and then you just set it on its way type of deal. And if run into enemy, if enemy X level do this combo type of deal. I don't know. But I think it's something that needs to be addressed in terms of kind of like the boss chicken thing, I guess. I don't know. But like in terms of silver waste, I think that's one way to deal with it. In terms of PvP, I think they just need to definitely flag the type of behavior that bots are doing and just try to figure it out. But I think they are. I don't know how they're gonna do it. That's gonna be interesting. But otherwise, I don't know if there are bots in World versus Worlds. I think there was one story about bots porting Mesmer portals to like third floor stone mist, but like I don't know how. I think that sounds viable. I've never tried that, but I don't know. It's kind of a issue where you kind of have to nip it in the bud early, otherwise it could get out of hand type of deal, in my opinion.
I didn't think about that. WW bots sound like they would be really hard to program.
It'd be like follow tag, I guess.
Yeah, but like there's no follow. Like I can imagine that being super easy in like
You
World
just
of
program
Warcraft,
that,
where
right?
a right-click follow option is available, but follow doesn't exist in Guild Wars 2.
You could program that in probably,
But then,
because there have been auto looting. People have probably programmed to auto looting before auto looting was in the game. So for silverways, so
I just would imagine it would be hella difficult. Especially, it's just like behavior. Like I can imagine bots in PvP are super easy to program because like you have a certain constraint of what is expected of a PvP player in a PvP match. You have your points, you have your combat actions. So like you already have an explicit set of constraints. With WW, like there's the back and forth of like, oh, we're going over to this Borderlands, oh, we're going to this Borderlands, or oh, we're going to EBG. It's weird. So like unless you have a tag to follow, like there's very little anchor. Like you'd have to program a bot to swap maps, you'd have to program a bot to follow the tag, you'd have to program a bot to follow something if a tag isn't existing because they have the private squad option now. Yeah. A bot using Taco. I've literally never used Taco. I suppose I should try it just so I could comment on it whenever it comes up in the news.
Used it once, so I didn't. It was like I didn't really need it.
I've never used the DPS meter either, so I suppose I should try and use that too, just so I can comment on it when stuff about it comes up.
Yeah, it gets annoying with update patches, so I just got rid of it.
Just trying to keep up with it, like because you have to manually update it every time Guild Wars 2 updates.
Yeah, and then it breaks or something. So it's like it's I don't need it. Like at this point, you don't need a DPS meter because pretty much every class can do decent amount of damage for every raid boss. So
well, that's I could imagine the DPS meter would be useful whenever you're like working with your raid group to try and make sure you hit DPS thresholds. And I could definitely, like, I know Mr. Red, one of the viewers of the channel, I followed his YouTube channel. He uploads boss kill stuff. I watched one of his Reaper DPS videos on Slothosaur, and he was just, like, 50% higher than everybody else in the DPS meter for the entirety of the fight, which was really fun to watch. Especially because I remember way back when we did a Community Corner Spotlight on somebody who was getting booted from fractal groups for being a power reaper DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you all remember it because he was just like, look at all of these damage screenshots where he's like 75% of the group's damage, and it's just like, yeah, I get booted because I'm a power reaper, and it's just like, okay. Like, it's a great utility to have. I understand not wanting to keep up with updating it if you're not actively using it all the time, so there's that. Pink Pirate is saying there is an automatic updater for a lot of these, so that's cool. I kind of wish there was more of an API similar to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
For Guild Wars 2, but I understand how their stance on modding was kind of a no. Like a capital NOTM, bold, italics, underlined, 96-point font for a very long time. At this point, I honestly wonder at this point if, like, at some point ArenaNet might be like, hey guys, do you want to, like, be under the umbrella of official ArenaNet mods at some point? But... And Pink... I'm not going to lie, Pink Pirate, I kind of agree with their stance on modding, too.
Yeah, I think it gets to the point of, like, they don't want... I know there's been places where this has been, you know, kind of more waffly. They don't want players to feel like they have to have certain mods in order to play, and, like, the more you support mods, the more it's easy to get in that vein. And their raid groups and whatever would require people in certain things. So there has been some waffling on that, but I feel like that's probably why they won't really, really support.
Well, I agree with that, even in terms of, like, because I know I talked in the pre-show about World of Warcraft. The last time I really was embedded in World of Warcraft was in Wrath of the Lich King. Like you're super into the raiding meta. And that was during the height of Gear Score, which was mostly just an item level average. Not wanting something like that to occur, which is why they don't allow inspects in Guild Wars 2. I agree with, because there would be people who would prevent you from, like, they would say, you need to have a gear score of X, where X was like, you were literally full geared for the raid that they were trying to recruit for.
Right.
So they were already, like, excluding 80% of the people who would want to join for that raid in the first place.
And that still happens.
Which,
WoW.
admittedly, and I don't know how looting happens in World of Warcraft anymore, but, like, since individual loot happens in Guild Wars 2 right now, like, it has been since. Does individual looting happen in World of Warcraft now?
It's all personal now.
Okay, so, like, literally, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't steal loot from other people in Guild Wars 2.
Yep.
But they would still preclude you from it. And, like, there are even people who are just like, you have to link X number of insights, or you have to loot, you have to ping this. Oh God, I'm sorry, Pink. Pink is saying that every time they install ESO, they need to install 12 more mods. And then Morngors is saying, I've been playing ESO for a while now, and coming from Guild Wars 2, I am still amazed by what is allowed for add-ons. From Deo, overqualified because in reality, the mass amount of raiders don't want a challenge of longevity. There are some, but most want to mindlessly go in and get top quality. Yeah, like that was one of the problems with gear score. Is the reason gear score in World of Warcraft was so high is they didn't want people who would be taking the loot. They wanted people who had already done it, who were going to be tried and true, who were going to be able to do the damage to help carry the group. Meanwhile,
my favorite is always people starting a thing and asking for higher requirement person who started the group. That's the best.
Yeah. Well, there was a point in time where there was somebody who used to be in my guild when I was actually running a raiding guild in World of Warcraft, where they had claimed literally all of the gear as a priest. Like, they had master loot on, and they would take literally everything.
Wow.
Light, medium, heavy, trinkets, literally everything. It's like, all of the loot is reserved for me. That's a whole nother after show topic, but
Yep.
Botting in Guild Wars 2, it's weird. Like, I feel like the combat style of Guild Wars 2 precludes a lot of botting exercises, because I feel like like in PvP specifically, because this is my experience with bots in PvP, you can, once you figure out an account is botting, you can exploit it, because bots can only do so much.
Yeah.
Like, they can only follow a certain set of protocols. Once you figure out what that protocol is, which can be a problem in PvP, but still, like, you have to encounter that account multiple times, but you can still exploit that. In PvE, it gets a little less easy to deal with, because there's no competitive in PvE in Guild Wars 2. So this example that Age brings up that I posted in chat, who do they think they were? A hunter? Well, that's the problem with rangers in Guild Wars 2, Deo, is a hunter in World of Warcraft, if your pet killed something and you never hit it, you didn't get loot for it. You didn't get experience for it. You still had to hit it at least with your auto attack. People in Guild Wars 2, if your pet kills something in its entirety, you still get loot for it. That's why there are Necromancer and Ranger AFK farms. But PvE Guild Wars 2 bots specifically might be a problem. However, the one that Age linked, which for those of you in YouTube, you will be able to watch it and you'll be able to understand my pain, because the number of times they cancel the cast for this clip, holy shit. It makes me mad on multiple levels. Anyway, any further comments on botting in Guild Wars 2 before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. So, last up, Community Corner, which Age brought up in the pre-show. Guild Wars 2 players, in Montreal for CBC Radio. I'm going to grab the link real quick. Come on. Browser, why? Thank you. Hello all, I'm a journalist in Canada, specifically Montreal, for CBC Radio, and currently I'm working on a radio piece on immersive open world gaming amid the pandemic, how people are exploring virtual worlds as the real world is on lockdown. And basically, I wanted to know if there were any Guild Wars 2 players based in Montreal who would be willing to share their personal experience of playing Guild Wars 2 amid the pandemic, and while also doing a dungeon, fractal, or something with me on Guild Wars 2 as part of the interview. So, Age, I'm going to let you talk about this. I don't know what CBC Radio is, since I am from the South, comparatively speaking.
The South?
Well, I am south of you. Arlie is souther, so...
Basically, CBC is a news network in Canada, and basically CBC Radio is just their radio station. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It seems like they're like, because of pandemic, I guess this goes outside the broad of Guild Wars 2, but like just because of the pandemic alone, a lot of people are spending a lot of time at home, and so a lot of people are finding like they're spending their time playing video games just because there's like only so much on Netflix you can watch. So people have been like Animal Crossing and Doom alone like prove that, just because of the amount of sales those games got, and it's proven that games have been provided like a temporary escape, from the world, just to like relax or enjoy your time. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that more people are into gaming these days. Especially, I think even the Switch was sold out in the US for a long time at some point. So it's just, yeah, it does make sense that people would like to understand why people gravitate more towards gaming rather than, I don't know, like maybe movies or things like that, or shows, or in addition to that. But yeah.
To give an additional, when I sold my original Xbox to a resale company called The Exchange down here in the US, I got $100 for the original Xbox. That's how much people are looking for gaming systems right now during the pandemic.
Jesus.
And on top of that, I also got $20 for each of the Guitar Hero Wii controllers that I had.
Wow.
Yeah. So like home console stuff is hot right now.
Yeah. And it's easy to access, like with all these new subscriptions that they keep having and things like that, with Steam, with the Ubisoft thing, with Stadia, with Xbox Game Pass. I think the PlayStation Network always has free games per month. So there's a lot of ways to play new games and experience new games, and things like MMOs are like long-term investment in games, and like right now we're over a year into quarantine life, as it were. So
also, if anybody in chat from Montreal is going to get into this, let us know. And then I also told Age this during the pre-show, like if any of y'all get into this, we want to highlight it if the piece goes up, because that's very obviously community corner for this. Especially if somebody from CBC is like, I play Guild Wars 2, do any of you? Like, that's great. I love hearing that. Especially, and honestly, Age, if you go in on this, and if you and the interviewer need extra people for the fractal dungeon / whatever, let us know, because I will gladly play filler for that, because I just kind of want to listen to the interview. And that goes for anybody in chat that's listening right now, because I would gladly, because any kind of journalism around this, when Arlie talks about the stuff that she does with interviews, like I know she's talked to people with Dauntless, like she can't really talk to us about anything that she does with ArenaNet because we run a weekly podcast, and the number of times where she isn't on the show is usually because she knows things about what's going on, and she's just like, I can't be on this week's show. And it's just like, because half the time whenever Arlie knows stuff and we make guesses and she starts giggling uncontrollably is when we know she knows.
Yeah.
Which is great, because honestly watching her reactions to stuff is hilarious, but at the same time, like, she can't publicly talk about it.
Right.
So that's why Arlie is absent, because games journalisming. I'm going to keep that.
It's officially a verb now.
It is officially a verb now. But yeah, like, if anybody goes in on this, please let us know, because I know Age is from Canada, Hat is from Canada. I don't know if anybody else from either Twitch or YouTube is from Canada. If you go in with CBC talking about this, let us know. I wanna spotlight it on Community Corner. But Arlie, do you, like, Age just did the whole piece himself talking about CBC. Arlie, do you have any comments?
No. Sounds cool though. That's about it.
Excellent. I think I've talked enough about it, so I think that's gonna call it for us for the wait. Though they are looking specifically for Montreal, it looks like, yeah, it's local, so you know that it is what it is, so to speak. But
nonetheless,
I would gladly give an interview, but I'm from Pennsylvania, so that doesn't really count for the whole Montreal thing, even though it's Eastern, but Canadian. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm totally Canadian, eh? Because I'm pretty sure anybody would be able to see through my fake affectation of Canadianisms.
that was totally believable.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
It absolutely was not.
I should clarify, because Hat said it. So, CBC stands for Canada Broadcasting Corporation, and it is a national network. I think of it primarily for news, but it's actually a network, so they have shows.
Okay. That German accent? What German accent, Pink? I don't know what you're talking about. I am totally Canadian, eh? Okay, before I further embarrass myself, I think it's time for the outro. Arlie, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram. You infected me with your not being able to talk. Twitch and Instagram at Arlie82. Yay. All right. That's it.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Age Night Road. I played a bunch of games this week. It was fun times. Should I say it here?
Yes.
Do it.
Yeah. I did commission a new logo, so I will put that out maybe next week. We shall see.
Yay.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
That is, to use Dave's phrase, awesome. And finally, you can find my rambling ass on Twitter at MalfanusMMO. You can also find me live here on Tuesday with these fine folks playing random games. This past week, we played Uno, in which case, in the last half hour of the stream, we just tried to play a base game of Uno with all of the modifiers, force play, zeros and sevens, stacking. We were streaming until 10:30 or 10:45 at night because the chaos was inevitable. It was wonderful and terrible, and I loved it, and I hope to do it again. I don't know where we're doing this upcoming Tuesday. Tuesday is our group gaming night. It's the Dauntless, Uno, Guild Wars 2, Warframe at some point. But it's just, we play games and we stream it, and it's for the fun of it. Thursday nights, I play PvP stuff on this stream. A new season has started in Guild Wars 2. I'm going to try and start streaming that. I didn't want to play this week because I was playing League of Legends. And my game at 9:30 this night that went for 41 minutes was Fuck It, Let's Play Teemo, where I actually did well. Shock. But that's a topic for after show. So Tuesday nights, group gaming night. Thursday nights, PvP gaming night with yours truly. Saturdays, that's Talking Skritt, 4 p.m. Eastern time for, all your Guild Wars 2 weekly news. And then my cat yowling in the background. Can you give me a second to finish the outro? Don't give me that face. Anyway, we hope to see you all later. We're going to go into the outro now. You all have a fantastic evening, and we will catch you next time, everybody. Bye.